Welcome back to the VSOW, not a podcast, but a YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Today we're diving deep
Deep.
into Jaleel White's autobiography,
Uh-huh.
Growing Up Urkel.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
A look at his journey from child star
Okay.
to adult actor,
Mm-hmm.
navigating the ups and downs of fame,
Right.
finding his own path
Yeah.
in the often unpredictable world of Hollywood.
It really is, yeah.
What I find particularly interesting
Yeah.
is that White doesn't shy away from the complexities.
He really doesn't.
He doesn't just present a glossy picture of success.
Uh-huh.
He dives into the challenges,
Yeah.
the personal struggles, and the lessons learned along the way.
Just refreshing. Yeah.
Right? It's refreshing to get that kind of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start at the beginning.
Let's do it.
White was just 12 years old when he landed the role of Steve Urkel on Family Matters.
Just a kid.
Can you tell us a bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, he went into that audition fully committed to the nerd persona, like head to toe. Like stereotypical nerd attire.
Oh, wow.
Even wearing his mom's jeans that were too small, like destined for a yard sale.
Really?
He understood the assignment.
That's amazing. It seems like he had a natural instinct for embodying the character, even at such a young age.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. And it's interesting to consider the context of the time.
Uh-huh.
The Cosby Show was a massive hit. And networks were like scrambling
Oh, yeah.
to replicate that success with more Black family shows.
I see.
And White talks about how a lot of these shows were
Boy.
created by white writers
Yeah.
who, sometimes struggled to capture authentic Black voices and experiences.
Right, and that raises an important question about the complexities of representation.
For sure.
Even with good intentions, it's crucial to have diverse perspectives involved in the creative process to ensure authenticity.
I think that's a great point, and White himself acknowledges the impact of this,
Sure.
particularly regarding the cultural perception of Steve Urkel. Initially, some within the Black community saw the character as like playing into these negative stereotypes.
Right.
Then the introduction of Stefan Urkel,
Right.
Steve's suave alter ego, kind of shifted those perceptions a bit.
It's fascinating how that one character, Stefan, allowed White to challenge those stereotypes and reclaim his image, especially within the Black community.
Absolutely.
He speaks to the power of representation and the need for a more nuanced portrayals of Black characters on screen.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's something that White reflects on quite a bit in the book.
Yeah.
He talks about the pressure he felt to represent his community in a positive light,
Uh-huh.
and how the creation of Stefan allowed him to kind of explore these different facets of Black masculinity.
This leads us to the phenomenon of Urkelmania
Yes.
and its impact on White's life.
Yeah.
He describes receiving mountains of fan mail, overwhelming even for an adult,
Yeah.
let alone a teenager.
Especially, yeah.
There's also the story about his encounter with Magic Johnson at a Lakers game.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's a prime example of the surreal nature of fame at a young age.
Yeah.
Here you have this 12-year-old kid being showered with attention,
It's crazy.
receiving gifts from NBA legends.
I can't even imagine.
It highlights the unique challenges of navigating fame
Oh, for sure.
and the blurring of boundaries between personal and professional life that child stars often experience.
It's a lot for a young person.
He talks about Magic gifting him signed shoes
Oh, wow.
and even almost flashing him in the locker room.
Oh,
That had to be a pretty wild experience.
I would think so.
It definitely speaks to the intensity of that kind of fame
Yeah,
and the ways in which it can disrupt a child's sense of normalcy.
totally.
And you have to remember, this was all happening while he was trying to navigate the everyday challenges of adolescence.
Right, just being a kid.
And speaking of navigating challenges, let's go behind the scenes of Family Matters.
Right?
White gets candid about his relationships with the cast.
Okay.
And it seems like it wasn't always smooth sailing.
Hmm.
He talks about his dynamic with Kelly Shania Williams, who
Right.
played Laura Winslow.
Huh?
They actually had a major falling out that lasted for months.
Oh, wow. What happened?
Really?
Yeah.
What caused that kind of rift between them?
Well, believe it or not,
Okay.
it stemmed from a mutual crush.
Well,
They were young,
right.
and things got misconstrued, leading to this kind of awkward tension on set.
I see.
Eventually, they were able to clear the air and reconcile,
Yeah.
but it was a learning experience for both of them.
That's a great example of how even seemingly simple things
Yeah,
can become complicated when you're working in such a high-pressure environment,
definitely.
especially at a young age.
Yeah.
Did he have similar challenges with other cast members?
He does mention a
Mhm.
complicated dynamic with Jo Marie Payton, who played Harriet Winslow.
Right.
There were accusations of White being difficult.
Oh.
And he also notes Peyton's frequent tardiness to table readings, which created some tension. Yeah, it's a reminder that even in a successful show,
Right.
personal dynamics can be complex.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see how those dynamics played out over the course of the show's long run.
It's a long time.
It's not always the picture-perfect family that we see on screen.
Right, behind the scenes is a whole different world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also touches on tension with Jamie Foxworth,
Okay.
who played Judy Winslow.
Right, right.
Apparently, her mother believed White's character was getting too much attention,
Interesting.
and that influenced their relationship.
Makes sense.
But what I found interesting
Yeah.
is that White mentions Jamie surprising him at his 30th birthday party.
Oh, wow.
So it seems like there was some reconciliation there.
It sounds like it.
It's a good reminder that these are real people
Mm-hmm.
with complex lives, and those complexities don't just disappear because they're on a TV show.
Definitely not.
Right. And that leads us to another important aspect of White's story, his family life. He details his parents' efforts to protect him from the pitfalls of child stardom.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very intentional about how they managed his money
Mm-hmm.
and his exposure to the excesses of fame.
I see.
For instance, they didn't even tell him his salary until he was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
That's wild.
I can't imagine not knowing how much money I was making, especially at that age.
Right.
What was their reasoning behind that?
Well, they wanted him to focus on being a kid, not on the money. Whenever he needed cash, they would give him $300,
Oh, wow.
which was the ATM withdrawal limit at the time.
Really?
Yeah, they were determined to keep him grounded.
It's refreshing to hear about parents who were so committed to protecting their child from the potential negative impacts of fame.
Yeah, it's a good example.
It's a stark contrast to some of the stories we hear about child stars and stage parents.
Definitely a different approach.
Absolutely. There's even a story about a holdout incident
What?
where his parents kept him home from work because of his behavior.
Oh.
The producers thought it was a contract negotiation tactic,
Oh, interesting.
but it was really just his parents disciplining him.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That's hilarious. I bet the producers were panicking, thinking they were about to get hit with some major demands.
Right.
But it goes to show how committed White's parents were to maintaining a sense of normalcy and discipline in his life.
Absolutely.
They understood that fame could be fleeting and that his character development was more important than any amount of money or screen time.
Good for them.
This reminds me of the story about the Reebok incident.
Oh, yeah.
He was receiving tons of free Nike gear, and Reebok rep tried to woo him.
Ah.
He was loyal to Nike and simply tossed her business card.
Wow.
It speaks to the power of brand loyalty at a young age,
Yeah.
and also perhaps a bit of naivete.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's interesting to see how those early experiences shaped his perspective on fame, success, and the value of staying true to yourself.
Definitely. Yeah. Those formative years are so important.
Absolutely. And that journey of self-discovery takes a significant turn during his high school years.
Okay.
He writes about joining the basketball team, despite his busy schedule,
Mm-hmm.
but things didn't quite go as planned.
Oh, really?
Right? He had this dream of being a star athlete,
I see.
but he mostly rode the bench,
Yeah.
which must have been a humbling experience.
Right.
It was.
Yeah.
He describes a tournament where his family and the Family Matters crew came to watch,
Oh, wow.
expecting him to shine.
Yeah.
But he ended up playing very little.
Oh, no.
And it was a stark contrast to the adulation he received as Steve Urkel.
Right. Two very different worlds.
It must have been a difficult pill to swallow,
Yeah.
realizing that his fame didn't translate to automatic success in other areas of his life.
Right.
Did he share any specific memories from his time on the team
Mm-hmm.
that highlight this clash between his celebrity
Yeah.
and his athletic aspirations?
He talked about playing against Cameron Gottlieb, the son of his coach.
Right.
And Cameron was this phenomenal player.
Draining threes from like seemingly impossible distances.
No way.
It was a reality check for White,
Yeah.
highlighting the gulf between his celebrity status and his actual skill level on the court.
It's interesting how that experience forced him to confront his limitations
For sure.
and to grapple with the fact that he wasn't going to be a star in every arena.
All right. Not everyone can be good at everything.
Exactly. And there's this intense game against La Cañada
Ah.
where Coach Gottlieb delivers this blistering post-game lecture.
Oh, wow.
White describes it as this moment of clarity,
I see.
realizing that even with all his fame,
Mm-hmm.
he was just another player fighting for minutes.
Right.
It's like Coach Gottlieb was saying, none of you are special.
Wow.
A harsh lesson,
Uh,
but probably a necessary one.
right. A dose of reality.
Right. It was a dose of reality that helped him separate his public persona
Yeah.
from his personal aspirations
Mhm.
and to confront the fact that success in one area doesn't guarantee success in others.
Definitely true. It's a valuable lesson for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of their level of fame,
Absolutely.
we all have to face our limitations.
Yeah.
And find ways to strive for excellence,
Mm-hmm.
even when the spotlight isn't shining on us.
Even when no one's watching.
And that leads us to White's transition from child star to adult actor, a journey that was filled with its own set of challenges and unexpected turns.
It's a tough transition.
Stay tuned, because we'll be right back to delve deeper into that part of White's story in the next segment of our deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
Right.
So before the break, we were talking about how White's parents really emphasized financial responsibility, even when he was bringing in, a significant income.
Right.
It's fascinating how they instilled those values in him.
It is. They had this unique approach to teaching him about money.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just handing him cash, they encouraged him to earn and spend his own money.
Smart.
He tells the story about wanting a fancy new car.
Oh, yeah.
And his dad basically told him, sure, buy it with your own money.
I love that.
It's like they understood that true financial literacy comes from experiencing the process firsthand,
Yeah.
not just from being given a handout.
Totally.
Exactly. And it sounds like it was a real wake-up call for young Jaleel.
Oh, yeah.
He admits that he didn't take great care of the less glamorous car his parents initially bought him.
Right.
But when he finally saved up enough to buy that dream car on his own,
Uh-huh.
he treated it like gold.
That's awesome.
That's a powerful lesson about the value of hard work and the pride that comes from earning something yourself.
Absolutely.
It's not just about having money.
Right.
It's about understanding the effort and responsibility that go along with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And this ties into a larger theme that White explores throughout the book,
Mm-hmm.
the illusion of status.
Right.
He talks about how his parents were very intentional about not exposing him to excessive wealth
Oh, wow.
or luxury brands.
Interesting.
They wanted him to stay grounded and not get caught up in the superficial trappings of fame.
Right.
It's remarkable how they were able to maintain that balance,
Yeah.
especially in a world where image and material possessions are often equated with success.
Yes, hard in that world.
They recognize that true success is about character, personal growth, and using your platform for good.
Absolutely.
They wanted him to define success on his own terms,
Right.
not by the standards of Hollywood or the media.
It's so important.
And speaking of defining success, let's talk about White's personal journey of self-discovery,
Okay.
particularly his experiences with dating.
All right.
He's very candid about the struggles he faced trying to shed the Urkel image,
Oh, yeah.
especially with the black women.
Interesting.
He shares some anecdotes about his attempts at romance
Okay.
that highlight his naivete
Uh-huh.
and the awkwardness of trying to navigate dating while being a famous teenager.
Oh, yeah, that's tough.
There's one story where he meticulously plans out a date, complete with an itinerary on an index card.
That's so cute.
That's so Urkel.
Totally.
It's endearing, but also a little heartbreaking.
Aw.
He was so used to being adored as Steve Urkel
Right.
that he didn't know how to just be Jaleel.
Right. How to just be himself.
Exactly. And it led to some misunderstandings and misconnections.
It happens.
He even describes a double date where his friend Darius McCrary, who played Eddie Winslow,
Right.
effortlessly wins over the girl White has a crush on.
Oh, no.
Ouch, that's got a sting.
Right.
It sounds like a scene straight out of the show, but with real-life heartache.
That's rough.
It really does, and it highlights the challenges White faced
Yeah.
in reconciling his public persona with his desire for genuine connection.
It's a hard thing to balance.
He was famous, but it wasn't translating into the kind of intimacy and understanding he was seeking.
I see.
And it seems like those challenges continued even as he got older.
Yeah.
He talks about feeling like he was constantly being judged or misunderstood,
Makes sense.
especially by black women.
Interesting.
He describes this moment at a party where he's surrounded by successful black actresses.
Okay.
And one of them jokes, "Is Essence the only one of us who hasn't kissed Jaleel on screen?"
Oh, my.
It's a lighthearted comment,
Yeah.
but it reveals a deeper truth about how he was perceived.
That's so...
It's like they saw him as this character,
Yeah.
this object of childhood affection,
Right.
rather than a complex individual with desires and vulnerabilities.
I could see that.
Exactly, and that kind of reduction can be incredibly dehumanizing.
Yeah, of course.
It speaks to the weight of perceptions and how they can shape our experiences, even in seemingly harmless situations.
Right. Perceptions are powerful.
It makes you think about the assumptions we make about people based on their public image,
Yeah.
and how those assumptions can prevent us from seeing the whole person.
Absolutely.
Right. And it highlights the importance of recognizing that everyone, regardless of their level of fame or success,
Yeah.
deserves to be treated with respect and understanding.
It's basic human decency.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about White's professional journey after Family Matters.
Okay.
He's very open about the struggles he faced, trying to transition from child star to adult actor,
That's got to be hard.
a path that is notoriously difficult.
Oh, yeah. We've heard the stories.
He talks about this period of feeling lost and uncertain,
I see.
trying to find his place in an industry that had already pigeonholed him.
Right. Typecasting is real.
He even describes this like demoralizing encounter
Really?
with a security guard
No way.
at the Warner Bros.
What happened?
What happened with the security guard?
Yeah.
Okay, so White had gone to the studio to play basketball,
Okay.
which is something he couldn't really do while on Family Matters
Right.
because of his character's physique.
I remember.
When he went to the gym,
Yeah.
security guard said, "You're still allowed to play here."
Oh.
It was like a subtle reminder that his star had faded,
Wow.
that he was no longer the center of attention.
That's got to be tough.
That's such a poignant moment. Yeah. It speaks to the fleeting nature of fame
Right.
and the difficulty of maintaining relevance in an industry that's constantly seeking the next big thing.
Absolutely. It's a tough industry.
Exactly. He went from being this beloved child star to being almost invisible.
Yeah.
And that transition must have been incredibly jarring.
I bet.
It's a reminder of the challenges that child stars often face as they try to build sustainable careers.
Right.
But despite those challenges,
Mm-hmm.
it's inspiring to see that White didn't give up.
Good for him.
He kept working, kept pushing himself,
Yeah.
and eventually he started to find his footing again.
That's great to hear.
He talks about reaching a turning point when he realized he needed to take control of his own narrative.
Oh, I like that.
He stopped waiting for permission or validation from others
Yeah.
and started creating his own opportunities.
Good for him.
I love that. It's like he finally embraced his own power
Right.
and decided to define success on his own terms. He wasn't going to let the industry's limited perception of him hold him back.
He took control.
Exactly. And that led him to explore different avenues like writing, directing, and producing.
Cool.
He even launched his own production company,
Wow.
which is a testament to his entrepreneurial spirit and his determination to create his own path.
That's awesome.
It's inspiring to see him taking ownership of his career
Mm-hmm.
and blazing his own trail. And it seems like that newfound confidence also extended to his personal life.
Oh, how so?
He describes a shift in his approach to dating, where he finally felt comfortable being himself.
I see.
Urkel image be damned.
Right.
He talks about learning to embrace his quirks and vulnerabilities,
Yeah.
to be authentic, rather than trying to fit into some preconceived notion of what's desirable.
That's so important.
He realized that true connection comes from being genuine
Absolutely.
and letting people see the real you, even the parts that might be a little nerdy or awkward.
Right.
That's such an important message, not just for people in the entertainment industry, but for anyone who's ever felt pressure to conform or hide their true selves.
For sure.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that our imperfections are what make us unique,
Totally.
and that true confidence comes from accepting and celebrating those imperfections.
I love that.
And White's journey of self-acceptance ultimately leads him to embrace his Urkel legacy in a way that is both hilarious and heartwarming.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about this.
We'll be right back after a quick break to discuss this further in our final segment. So we're back, and, throughout this book, White doesn't shy away from the more challenging aspects of fame.
Yeah.
Like, he's very honest about the awkward encounters, the frustrating auditions,
Uh-huh.
the moments when he felt lost in the shadow of his iconic character.
Right, those are tough.
What's so compelling about his story is that vulnerability.
Yeah.
He doesn't just present this, like, polished image of success.
Mm-hmm.
He's willing to share the struggles, the doubts, the moments where he felt like he was losing himself.
That's powerful.
It's like he's pulling back the curtain
Right.
and showing us that fame doesn't shield you
Yeah.
from the everyday challenges we all face.
We're all human.
It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all are still grappling with the complexities of life,
Yeah.
identity, and relationships.
That's deep.
It really is.
Yeah.
One of the things White talks about is this constant feeling of being observed.
Oh, wow.
Even when he was just trying to live a normal life.
Yeah.
He really wanted to blend in with his peers at UCLA, but his fame made that almost impossible.
I bet.
There's this anecdote where he's at a college party,
Oh, okay.
and a classmate asks him where he was the night before.
Oh, yeah.
White had been out with Denzel Washington watching a basketball game, enjoying this post-game meal of ribs.
Wow.
But he hesitates to share that story
Really?
because it sounds so outlandish.
That's funny.
It's a perfect illustration of the disconnect he felt
Yeah.
between his extraordinary experiences and the ordinary world he was trying to navigate.
It's like living in two different worlds.
He was caught between these two realities.
Yeah.
And it created a sense of isolation, even when he was surrounded by people.
That's tough.
Something I think a lot of people can relate to, that feeling of not quite belonging, of being different, even if it's not due to fame.
Right.
It's a universal human experience to search for connection and acceptance.
I think so too.
Absolutely. And for White, that search was further complicated
Right.
by the constant scrutiny and judgment that comes with being a public figure.
Definitely.
He talks about the pressure to maintain a certain image,
Yeah.
to live up to the expectations that others had placed upon him.
It's a lot to carry.
He's very candid about his struggles with that pressure, especially when it came to dating.
Yeah.
It's almost as if he felt like he had to prove himself worthy of affection.
I see.
Not as Steve Urkel,
Right.
but as Jaleel White, the person behind the character.
That makes
It's heartbreaking to think about how those external pressures impacted his sense of self-worth,
Yeah.
especially at such a formative age.
Right.
It's no wonder he had difficulty forming genuine connections
Yeah.
when he was constantly second-guessing himself and trying to meet these impossible standards.
That's a lot to deal with.
Right. It's like he had to unlearn all these unhealthy patterns and beliefs that had been ingrained in him from a young age.
Yeah.
It speaks to the long-lasting impact of early experiences
Definitely.
and the importance of self-awareness and breaking free from those limiting patterns.
You're true.
And that process of unlearning and relearning is a major theme in the book.
I like that.
White talks about the importance of understanding your motivations, recognizing your own desires, and ultimately being true to yourself,
Yeah.
even when it's difficult or uncomfortable.
It's so important.
It's a powerful message
Yeah.
that transcends the world of Hollywood. It's about finding your voice, defining your own path, and refusing to let others dictate who you are
Right.
or what you're capable of achieving.
It's about taking control.
Exactly. White could have easily succumbed to the pressure to conform, to play the roles that Hollywood expected of him, but he chose to forge his own path, even if it meant facing rejection or criticism along the way.
Good for him.
There's this, great anecdote where
Yeah.
he's working on the film Big Fat Liar,
Okay.
and he's initially offered a role
Yeah.
that's essentially like Jaleel White playing this caricature of himself.
Oh.
He recognizes the potential pitfalls of that
Right.
and successfully pitches a change to his character to avoid being typecast.
That's awesome.
It's a bold move,
It is.
especially for someone who's trying to rebuild their career.
Yeah.
But it demonstrates his commitment to artistic integrity and his willingness to take risks to protect his creative vision.
He knew what he wanted.
It's a statement. It's him saying, I'm more than just Urkel.
Right.
I'm an actor, a writer, a director, and I have a lot more to offer than the one-dimensional image you've created for me.
He's multi-talented.
And what's so inspiring
Yeah.
is that he ultimately finds a way to embrace his Urkel legacy,
Yeah.
not with resentment or bitterness,
Right.
but with humor and self-awareness.
Love that.
He doesn't try to erase the past, but he also refuses to let it define him.
He's owning it.
He even launched his own cannabis brand that plays on the purple Urkel strain.
Really?
It's brilliant marketing.
Yeah.
But it also speaks to his ability to find humor in the unexpected twists and turns of his life.
It's like turning lemons into lemonade.
It's like he's taken ownership of that part of his past
Right.
and transformed it into something positive and empowering.
Absolutely.
He's not running from it.
Yeah.
He's embracing it and using it to connect with people in a new way.
That's awesome.
And he does it all with a sense of authenticity and humility that is incredibly disarming.
He seems like a genuine guy.
He's not afraid to poke fun at himself
Mm-hmm.
or to acknowledge his own imperfections.
It makes him relatable.
There's this great story about him being backstage
Okay.
with Dave Chappelle and Talib Kweli,
Oh, wow.
and they're all smoking weed.
Uh-huh.
He describes being so high, he's practically melting into the couch, while Chappelle is out on stage performing brilliantly,
Yeah.
seemingly unaffected.
Right.
It's this moment of realization for McQuaig,
I see.
recognizing that true success isn't about chasing highs
Yeah.
or escaping reality.
Right.
It's about finding your purpose, honing your craft,
Yeah.
and using your gifts to connect with others.
That's deep.
It's about discipline, dedication,
Mm-hmm.
and a deep respect for the art form.
Absolutely.
And it's about having the humility to laugh at yourself,
Yeah.
to recognize that you're not perfect,
Yeah.
and to keep striving for growth and self-improvement,
Mm-hmm.
even when you've achieved a certain level of success. Jaleel White's Growing Up, Urkel is this, surprisingly insightful
Yeah.
and deeply personal memoir
Uh-huh.
that offers a glimpse into the complexities of fame
Right.
and the challenges of navigating identity, relationships, and self-acceptance.
It sounds like a great read.
It is. It's a reminder that even those who seem to have it all
Yeah.
are still on this journey of self-discovery,
Uh-huh.
and that the path to true fulfillment is often paved with unexpected twists and turns.
Life is full of surprises.
It's a story about embracing your authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
finding your voice, and defining success on your own terms.
I love that.
If you enjoyed this deep dive,
Yeah.
please like, subscribe,
Huh?
and leave a comment on the Visa W, not a podcast, but a YouTube channel.
We love to hear from you.
We appreciate your feedback, and thank you for watching the Visa W, not a podcast, but a YouTube channel.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.